Kia ora, good evening Rotorua, welcome to City News. Just ahead in tonight's bulletin, Rotorua joins the rest of New Zealand in 2 minutes of silence for Christchurch. Council Chief says rates will not be used to fund airport debt, and the Bay of Plenty Magic go to the top of the championship table. Those stories and more coming up next on City News. New Zealand came to a standstill at 12:51 today to mark the moment a week ago when the 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck Christchurch. Mayor Kevin Winters led the Rotorua Council staff and residents in observing 2 minutes silence, honouring earthquake victims and showing support for the city's survivors. Mayor Winters says it's an appropriate time for a period of quiet reflection and for thoughts of sympathy to those who have lost so much. Mayor Winters told City News that it is also a time for Rotorua to reflect on our own safety.
I mean, we operate under a New Zealand Civil Defence Emergency Management Code. As they've done in Christchurch, the Prime Minister can declare a state of national emergency. Mayor Bob Parker declared a state of local, and I have the same abilities as well as Mayor of Rotorua to declare a local civil defence disaster. On a wider scale, we have the Bay of Plenty Civil Defence Emergency Management Group that is very well connected through our 7 territorial local authorities. And then, if worst case scenario, the Prime Minister come in. So all what you've seen that's happening in Christchurch can be relocated to anywhere in New Zealand depending on the disaster. So I'm confident, heaven forbid that it never happens, that if an event of that scale happens in Rotorua, we have the resources, we have the skills, we have the people to call upon to aid the people of Rotorua if it ever occurs.
Mayor Winters is also inviting Rotorua residents to call into the Civic Centre at any time during office hours to sign the message book for Christchurch. News that ratepayers will not now be called upon to help fund the airport debt may quell calls for the Council Chief Executive to resign. Local residents were outraged at the prospect of the rumoured 8% rates increase to fund the airport. Rotorua District Council Chief Executive Peter Gurin now says that the Council can meet its repayment commitments on airport loans from within existing budgets. He says this would alleviate the need to collect any additional revenue from ratepayers. Mr Gurin says he believes he has identified all the savings necessary and has a commitment from managers and staff to live within reduced budgets. He says the Council had been working on budgets for the next financial year and remains committed to holding rates increases to 3.5%, which is within the forecast levels of inflation. Mr Gurin says there had been a lot of confusion in the community and a number of mischievous comments about the loans the Council had taken out for Rotorua's airport infrastructure. He pointed out that the loans were not the responsibility of the airport company, as it was the Council that owned the airport infrastructure and was responsible for servicing loans. Mr Gurin says he will be putting a detailed report to the Council meeting on Thursday that would set out the current situation in full, along with his recommendations and options for funding airport loan payments. On Saturday, the Maketu community hosted the 4th annual Maketu Kaimoana Festival. Our cameras were there covering this tasty event.
There's been some really good celebrity chefs here. We had Virginia Yavena Turner. She's one of our local chefs, married to a local Māori boy from Te Puke. She's fantastic. Does a lot of cooking classes around here, so she's really nice. But she's like more of a cook than a chef, so she's not like highly technical. And then we had Peter Blakeaway, who's probably a little bit more international than Virginia, but also very, very, very good at making food. Our artists, musically, we've had lots of local talent. We usually try and highlight as much local talent as we can, but this year we're our star acts, Taisha and Jigsaw, and you can hear them in the background, and honestly they're just beautiful to listen to.
And we will have more from the Maketu Kaimoana Festival in Monday night's City News. 5 major underwater volcanoes in the Kermadec Arc, northeast of the Bay of Plenty, will be probed for mineral deposits by a New Zealand-led group of international scientists. The group of scientists are from the United States, Australia, Switzerland and New Zealand and will spend the next 3 weeks on the NIWA research vessel Tangaroa. They will use a robotic vehicle to explore the mineral potential of the volcanoes. Studies during the past decade have shown some of the volcanoes hosted extensive mineral deposits. One of the aims of the voyage was to clarify the type and size of the deposits. In sport tonight, Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic were made to sweat it out, but the result was never seriously in doubt as they beat Central Pulse 46-44 in Wellington last night. New Zealand's top ANZ Championship franchise secured their third successive win of the season, which is good enough to promote them to the top of the points table. Magic coach Nolene Taurua says it was ugly on the court, but they'll take the points. Meanwhile, it's been reported that the Tactics will play next week's home game against the Magic in Rotorua in the light of the severe damage caused to Christchurch. And weather for Rotorua and the surrounding area tonight, chance of a shower, a low of 15. Tomorrow, Wednesday, cloudy, rain from the afternoon and northerlies, a high of 22 and a low of 16. Long range for Thursday, fine, then drizzle developing, northerlies, a high of 24 and a low of 15. Marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Wednesday, northerly 10 knots rising to 15 knots late morning, then dying out in the evening. Waves less than half a metre, rain with poor visibility developing in the afternoon and clearing at night. Still to come tonight, we find out about the Gosokoro Karate Club. Tony Bland tells us how to deal with tired eyes, and I speak with Jill Campbell about the new skate parks. That's coming up after the break.